This is the plaintiff, Ronnie Hatcher. He says the defendant is unfortunately his neighbor, who he's had trouble with since moving in almost 2 years ago. The guy has 8 kids, and one of them smashed his 100-gallon aquarium and also threw a metal socket through his car windshield. The defendant's also a slob. He now has a rat problem, and the siding of his house is damaged because they egged him. Bottom line, this abuse has to stop, and that's why he's suing for the $3,860 he's owed for all the damages caused. This is the defendant, Matthew Seymour. He says the plaintiff's the one who harasses him mercilessly. He calls the cops if one of his kids' Nerf toys lands in his yard. He complains his dog poops in his yard, but he doesn't even have a dog. And no one in his family egged the guy's house. Owe him all this money? No way. He's accused of being a nasty neighbor.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says his neighbor has 8 kids, and they are reckless because one of them intentionally smashed a 100-gallon fish aquarium that he owned. But the defendant says that his neighbor is a grumpy old man who harasses him mercilessly about minor little things. It's the case of, those are some nasty neighbors.
Mr. Hatcher, what's the problem?
The first time we had any issue was with a 100-gallon aquarium, which I placed about 2.5 feet away from the fence line. And his son took a hammer and just twice deliberately took a hammer to the aquarium and busted it. I was going to put it in.
Can I ask you a question? How old is this son?
He's 8 or 9 years old.
Did you see him do that?
I watched video of him do it. I had surveillance cameras.
Okay.
And it did show.
And then what happened?
Do that.
What happened when you noted that? Did you go and talk to the defendant?
I went over and talked to them, and I wanted the child to help me clean up the aquarium to get ready for bulk pickup, and that he would help me take it and assist me out with it. Well, that did not happen. But Mr. Seymour came over and helped me move it out after I got about halfway.
Well, that might be a little bit dangerous for an 8-year-old, but certainly there should be some consequences. But tell me, Mr. Hatcher, when did the defendant move in next door? Because you were apparently neighbors with he's moved in with his father, and you were neighbors with the father before this, and there were never any problems. Is that correct?
I never had any problems.
Okay,
So,
but the father lived there first, and then he moved in with who?
I'm not sure about that. There's a lot of
How
people
many
come
kids
and
are
go
living
out of
there?
that house.
How many kids are living there, Mr. Seymour?
I've got 5 through the week and 8 on the weekend.
How many kids do you have, Mr. Seymour?
9, ma'am.
Are you done pollinating? 9 kids? How many different mothers?
Ma'am. 3.
3 different mothers. Wow. Have you figured out how it happens?
No kidding.
Because that sounds spread really, really thin. That's really, really thin. Are you able to provide for 9 kids?
Yes, ma'am. I work 2 jobs.
God bless you. What are the ages of these kids?
10 to 3.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's got to be a free-for-all. All right, so 5 of them are living with you. What are the ages of those kids?
10, 9, 8, 6, and 4.
Okay, and are they all from the same mom or no?
Yes, ma'am.
And where's the mom?
Out in the living room with them.
Oh, okay, so she's there too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so now after this aquarium incident, what happens next? What's the next thing that goes wrong?
The next thing that happened was the kids were throwing sockets and wooden objects towards my car, which is 36 feet away from the fence line. So it had to be checked pretty good for a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old to throw it and break my back window of my van, which costed over $700 to repair. And I asked them to pay the deductible on the car.
And according to you, the deductible was $100.
It was $100.
Right. He paid $40, and he still owes you $60 for that.
That's correct.
And Mr. Seymour, where's the other $60?
Ma'am, I gave him 3 payments, 2 $40 payments and a $20 payment. Now, I did not get receipts because he's my neighbor. I didn't figure I had to, but I did pay the man.
Yeah, now look at you. Yeah, you got to prove that.
Fair
He says
enough.
you paid. It's not like he's saying you owe me $100. He's saying, well, I did get 40, but he still owes me 60. All right. Now, the next thing, and this is really the big ticket item, it's to fix siding on your house. Tell me about that. What happened?
Well, I didn't notice it for quite some time, but the father, his father, Mr. Seymour's father, came over and asked me one day if my cameras reached out to the front of the house because the kids had egged their car. Okay, so I didn't think anything.
And they wanted to know which kid.
And they wanted to know which kid, so that they know who to blame and punish. Well, I didn't know who it was. My cameras did not reach that direction. Anyway, 3 weeks later, I was mowing my grass and I found that my house was also egged, and it was there for 3 weeks and it all powdered up and took the paint off, which I did take photographs of. Yes, that's part of it. Then on top above it was more damage done.
Okay.
It's not showing the damage.
And so one painter told you could just paint over it, and another person told you you have to remove the siding and put new siding, right? And that's what you're suing
Correct.
for, $3,800 for new siding.
Yes, for new
Right.
siding.
Now,
Just
let's
for
talk
the
about
one
what
side.
you're really upset about. You feel that your life, that your quality of life has seriously deteriorated since he and his family moved in.
Well, I went over to talk to Mr. Seymour after the egg incident and was going to talk to him about a few other things. And I started off, of course, with about the egg. And he just, they got you too, huh? And turned his face and was starting to bow around. I said, okay. Then I said, well, I'm going to start throwing away the kids' toys because they keep venturing closer to my van, and really I don't need any more damage done to my van or my house. And well, he threw a fit, said, you don't have any kids, blah, 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 slammed the door in my face, and they went out to retrieve the toy.
Which kid is the kid who threw the I don't want you to identify the kid, but you know which kid we're talking about when we talk about the socket on the windshield, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that the same kid who was involved in the egging incident?
I don't know. Nobody ever specified.
Did you
which
question
kid it
your
was
children?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened? What'd they tell you?
They said that none of them did it. One of their friends did it. So I figured out which friend it was. I went and spoke to their parent. My kid did not throw the egg. And Mr. Ron would not listen to anything I had to say.
I questioned the kid also.
The other kid, the friend.
Kid that was, no, I questioned the kid that was with his supposed friend that egged the house.
And
they were both together, and I asked him, well, why didn't you stop him? Well, he's a year older than I am, and I couldn't stop him. And I asked him where his mother was. She's in the bedroom. She cannot be disturbed.
She cannot be disturbed. Boy, I would like that. I would like a kid to say that in my house, you know.
The egg fragments was on their windshield or windowsill.
Is your premise, why would he have to pay for the siding if the only evidence is that some other kid did it? Why is it his fault? Why would he have to pay for the siding?
His kid was involved in it also.
Yeah, but no, you have no evidence his kid was involved in it. The only evidence you have is that his kid was with a kid who did it, but not that they were in on it together. He didn't hand him an egg and say, go ahead, go throw it at that gentleman's siding. You don't have any evidence.
Together.
Yeah, they were both
According
together,
to the kid,
but they have to be acting in concert to do the bad thing in order for both kids to be responsible and or their parents to be responsible for lack of supervision. Which kid set your garage on fire? One of your kids set your garage on fire?
Kid.
A different kid. And the oldest one is 10? You got to get some control over there. I know you're busy working 2 jobs and trying to provide, but somebody better get some control over there. All right.
I just wanted the kids to wash the side of the house. It took me twice to get the cops to come out to get him to wash the side of the house.
Did he end up washing the siding?
After the
And did it come off?
And I had the paint is totally off.
Let me ask you, Mr. Seymour, you're getting sued for $3,800 for the siding. And from what you're testifying to, your defense is it's not my kid. He knows it's not my kid. He knows it's that other kid. You're also getting sued for the $60. And you've said to me, well, I paid that, but I have no receipts, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's talk about this stuff, because this is going to be a perennial problem. you feel that the quality of your life, sir, has been changed because of stuff like this. I've got a video up here.
Yeah, that's his dog. It's actually his father's dog who lives there at the house.
This is a slap in the face. Why is the dog loose?
Because my father let it out. It's his dog.
Yeah, but you should stop him, because this is a source of great consternation for your neighbor, and you want to try to have some peace. Wow, it's
Yes,
wild.
ma'am. I've already fixed the back gate.
And the back gate is the way the dog was coming out?
Yes, ma'am.
And then we've got video here. Is this you? This is you, right? Where are you going? You're going to work? You step on some poo. All right, let's, you also have some footage of rats. There we go. There's a little varmint.
That's the one on top of the toy.
The one on top of some toy over there. Oosh. Okay, but have you called the city to complain about these kinds of things? I mean, because how are you going to, the rat's not talking, and the rat doesn't say which property it was born on, and why, and how, and what is the rat doesn't say, well, my preference is for that person's garbage instead of that person's. I mean, if a rat problem's a rat problem, it's kind of a shared community thing, unless someone is leaving garbage outside that is attracting the rats. So if you see garbage outside, all you have to do is call the city and say, hey, this is illegal and they can't do this. So have you done that?
Welcome back to the People's Court. There is garbage everywhere, and now there are rats that have invaded the space. Let's find out which litigant is going to come out on top.
I've asked the city to look into it. And of course, his backyard has been atrocious. He's finally cleaned it up, but he doesn't even mow his yard.
I mean, look, he's got 5 kids living there. There's 3 adults living there. There's at least 1 dog. How many dogs do you have?
Just the 1 dog on my dad's.
Just the 1. And it's that's your dad's dog, and he acknowledges that that's your dad's dog. He's not suing for anything that has to do with the dog, but he did give me a lot of video of the dog literally just traipsing over there loose and pooping on his yard. And it's kind of, you know, you want to be a good neighbor. And I understand your frustration because you feel that he is being kind of crotchety and he just doesn't like kids.
Pretty much, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so explain that to me. What do you mean by that?
Well, for instance, about 3 weekends ago, there was half of the neighborhood out front playing football, yelling and screaming, being kids outside playing. And he comes out back and tells my kids that you guys need to quiet down because you're not the only people in the neighborhood. Now, how's that right? He did call the city on me about the rats, and the city told him that the rats is a citywide problem. There's nothing that can be done. I apologize.
All right, Mr. Hatcher, you are asking that Mr. Seymour pay $3,800 to replace the siding on that side because someone else's kid is accused of doing something. I'm not going to order him to pay you $3,800. I'm impressed that he got out there and cleaned it on a first time or a second time. If the story is that his son was merely with someone who did it. I would do that. I would clean it. I wouldn't take me a second time. I would clean it in fact, I'd have my kid out there. I wouldn't have my kid move a glass aquarium, but I would have my kid, you know, out there with a sponge and soap and water to clean it if he was with the kid who did it, because he should know that that's inappropriate and that he should have told you if it was done and all that other stuff. But in any event, the position that we're in is you have zero proof that he as a parent is responsible for what it is you say is necessary. I'm not even sure it is necessary. I think you're trying to send a message because you're frustrated. And this is rough because, yes, there are a lot of kids living there. And guess what? They have a right to live there. They do. You know, we have to try to find some happy medium where you can live in peace and the children can be children and not be too loud and you not be too angry. But I see where he's coming from. If your dad's dog is constantly taking his business over to his yard and your kids are throwing things at his car, this isn't starting out the way it should start out. In any event, I'm not going to order him to pay the $3,800. I am going to order him to pay the remaining $60 that he doesn't have proof of. And that's my verdict. And I wish you guys good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff is going to get $60, not $3,860. Mr. Seymour, is this the first time you've been to court with your neighbor over issues like this?
Yes, sir.
Do you think the judge said she thought maybe Mr. Hatcher was trying to send you a message by filing this lawsuit? Do you think he has succeeded?
No, sir. I mean, I understand that he's frustrated. I get that. But at the same point, he's not respectful to me, my children, anybody in my house. So I show him the respect that he gives me.
All right, sir. Well, I wish you luck. Mr. Hatcher, what about it? What do you think? Do you think you can have a little more patience maybe with Mr. Seymour and his children?
Mr. Seymour, I just wanted to be a good neighbor. And if he would show me some respect, I show him respect. And I don't mind the kids at all. I do mind if they taunt the cameras, especially the doorbell, because they keep coming and running over to the doorbell to make it sound off. That's not appropriate.
Well, listen, good luck to you guys. I hope you work it out and can live in peace.
Wow, the surveillance cameras that were in place here were pretty amazing. I mean, Mr. Hatchett had the poop cam in the front, the rat cam in the back alley, and I don't know what else, but he had a lot of photographic or video evidence of some of the things that were bothering him about what were going on. But certainly the dog really isn't this defendant's dog, it's his father's dog. And yeah, dogs will do that kind of thing once in a while. And rats are everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I went for a walk in our neighborhood maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I saw a rat and a snake that day. Within like, I could have reached out and grabbed them. So, you know, it's hard to avoid those.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, they both seemed like such nice people, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They seemed so reasonable here in court.
Yeah, you never know how that looks otherwise, but
Right. I'm sure they're putting on their best
yes, I guess. But you know, I wish they could find some happy medium because
Definitely.
you know, I mean, the defendant is working 2 jobs, trying to feed a lot of mouths. He's, you know, I mean, he's, I guess, doing his best, but
Right.
it's not funny if your kid eggs a house.
No.
And if that actually happened, that's kind of bad.
All right.
Okay, we got this from Raquel. Harvey, if I catch COVID from someone who tested positive, was asymptomatic, but refused to quarantine, can I sue that person for negligence? I think you can. If somebody knowingly exposes their disease to you and they don't tell you and don't give you an opportunity to stay away, that is negligence. Negligence is defined as what a reasonable person would not do under the same or similar circumstances. And I think a reasonable person would stay clear of you, or at the very least tell you you have COVID and give you the option. If they don't, I think you got a case. We'll see you next time.